Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, am I loud enough?
Can hear you.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
So everyone can turn on their mics there.
Yeah, good job, Jack. Okay, I'll call the meeting in order of the City of Cedarburg Plan Commission on Monday, July 6th at 7 p.m. Roll call. We have everyone here. I know that Jim Fitzpatrick is excused. Mary or Ian, do you know if Sherry is excused?
I did not hear from Sherry.
Okay, we'll see if she comes in or not. Ian, were we publicly noticed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion? I'm going to ask you to approve two sets of minutes. One of those is the meeting of June 1st Plan Commission meeting, and the second is the June 15th Joint Common Council and Plan Commission. If anybody wants to make a motion on both of those, that would be great.
I motion to approve both the June Plan Commission meeting and the Joint Plan Commission Common Council meeting minutes.
Thanks, Jim. Is there a second? Come on, somebody second it.
I wasn't here, so I didn't want a second. Oh, I wasn't at the meeting. The one thing I would ask about the meeting though, Mayor, is that since in my absence at that meeting, I asked that you read my letter and I would just add
I did.
that be added to the minutes as a point of record.
Okay, Ian, if you want to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll second
well,
that. We did read your letter. So.
Yes.
Yeah. And we can attach them, John. So we got a motion, a second on both of these. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't here on June 1st.
Anyone opposed?
No, man, I'm going to
Yeah.
abstain. Sig is going to abstain. He wasn't here on the 1st.
Okay, and I've asked Attorney Herbrand this before. I think that even if you're not there, you can vote, but we'll just, I mean, if we're all good with quorum right now, we'll just leave it at that, okay?
Yeah, do we need one? Well, I assume you voted yes as well, Mayor?
I did, yes.
Okay, then I believe that would make it
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 to 0 with one abstention. Okay.
Okay, we're
Ian?
good. Okay,
But thanks, Mary, for clarifying that in my absence, I could still vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've always done that, yes.
Great, thank you.
Jack, you're in line with me on that. That's what Herbrand's done.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We got a motion, a second, and I think we did vote. Thank you. So the minutes from both were approved. This is a segment where we do comments and suggestions from citizens. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the audience that's not on the agenda, but if there is, and if you'd like to take a couple minutes to make a comment about something that is not an agenda item, you can do that. Come up to the podium, give us your name and address, and we'll give you 2 minutes. And let me know if anybody's out there that looks like.
Anybody have any comments for public comment? I don't see any out in the audience, Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Jack. I appreciate that. Okay, so we'll go on to 8A, which is regular business. We've got applicant, property owner Simon Fass requests approval of a waiver per section 13-1-101G of the city code to permit more than 720 total square feet of area and accessory structures on his RS6 single-family, two-family residentially zoned property. This 0.6 acre property is located at N62 W5948 Columbia Road. And Mary, you want to take it?
Sure. This is a fairly sizable lot located on Columbia Road. And yet it has some topographic issues. It drops off kind of a 3 to maybe 4 foot drop midway through the backyard. And so you can't push structures into the rear yard very successfully, certainly not garages. But they did go to the Board of Appeals and got a permission and approval to put this new detached 2-stall garage on this property, a little bit closer to the principal building than the code would normally allow, and in the side yard where the code usually says it's got to be in the rear yard. So those steps in the process have been cleared. The code also goes on to say that you can't have more than 720 square feet of detached accessory storage buildings on your property. And in this case, because the garage is going to be slightly oversized for a 2-stall garage versus the existing single-stall garage, which is very small, this is going to be 22 by 30, so there's little added depth. But in any case, they're going to go from an existing combined total of about 408 square feet of accessory structures on the site to a new total, if this were to be approved this evening, of 840 square feet, again, versus the 720 code standard. What I noted in my report is that even with the request for this 120 square feet of overage, that they would still be fully in compliance with the 30% total lot coverage area of the code and the 36% total floor area maximum of the code. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the commission to discuss whether, as the Plan Commission, you are inclined to grant a waiver to that 720 square feet.
Mary, I do have a couple questions. It looks like in that survey where the garage was sketched, there's a building addition that there was a original survey that was only a few years old that didn't show that. That's not a part of anything that we're approving?
It's not.
And, okay.
That's not. And there's also a small accessory shed that shows on that plan that isn't there anymore. So there was a third structure and only 2 are allowed. So that third structure is gone, and we're not talking about the building addition. We're talking strictly about the detached garage.
Okay. And then you mentioned there's a 3-foot side yard dimension that was already approved in the previous variance.
It was,
Okay.
yes.
And I have one last comment, and really it's not something that we're voting on, but the garage is on a floating slab and it doesn't go down to frost, and it's sketched up, and I think by code, they would need to provide some insulation under that. So I think when Mike reviews that from an engineering perspective, I'd just like to have that comment in that they would need to provide frost protection for the shallow foundation.
I have heard the building inspector talk about that on other projects, so I'll make sure and talk with him tomorrow. Yeah.
Thanks,
Mary, I've got
Jim.
a couple of questions and comments. One is just that this, I'm assuming, is called an artist rendering of the garage.
Yes.
I want to make sure that this is what we're going to get, because I think that when we look at these accessory structures that exceed the allowable area, we want to make sure that they're compatible, that the site is such that it won't be overly dense, or, that it's a situational thing, right? That in this case, this is a deep enough lot. I'm totally comfortable with the size of it, but I also think that it's a lot of massing facing the street now. And I think it's really important that it match architecturally to the house. And I love what I see in this rendering, but it's not what I see in the technical documents.
Correct. I did talk with the applicant about that and ask them to actually provide this rendering so we have something to tie to and say, this is what was approved.
Right.
So,
'Cause
yes,
This I would not support, this version.
right.
Right.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that, if I would like to just go on the record that I support this and I would vote for this. But it'd be very important for me that between you and Mike, that, that we look at those plans and from a staff level, that it's going to look like this, including matching the color, the garage door with the windows in it, the kipped roof, which I think is really important, not just a straight gable, but that little kip that's matching the structure, the house. So I'd say that those are my things that I noticed right away that I like what I see here visually, but it wasn't supported by the backup documentation.
You should maybe, if that motion gets made to approve, just specify that that be included in the conditions.
Thanks for stressing that, Sig, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I just,
The drawing
a couple quick
certainly doesn't
comments. It's a pretty large lot and, you know, it's deep and there's really nothing back there except a cemetery and the interurban trail. There's a lot of room in there. And given that the Board of Review has already approved the setback, I can support this. I think that your comments are on track there as well, Sig.
And I'm good
Anybody
with-
else?
That's it. That's it, Mayor. I'm good with it.
Okay, thank you.
John.
Let me just pull up, I've got a couple different screens in front of me. Somebody want to make a motion, again, including Sig's?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that I move to approve the request of a waiver to permit more than 720 total square feet of area in an accessory structure in the RS6 single family zoning district with the following conditions. That the front elevation include the elements that are shown in the artist rendering, including a kipped front gable, including a garage door with the 4 windows as shown, the 2 side coach lights, the what do you call those? I guess coach lights,
Mhm.
and a color that is of a similar color as the main home.
Main body of the home.
And Mary, did you have any also? And also the planners.
The garage door color?
The garage door color as well. I think that just all the chips that you guys should review the color chips, that they all look like this and that they're working. Actually,
Yeah.
if you look at the size of, sorry, I don't want to go on a tangent, but if you look at the size of, it's actually a pretty sizable garage when you look at it, the footprint relative to the house. So I think these are important things.
I'll second Sig's motion. This is John.
Thank you, John. Okay, we've got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think we're unanimous then, thank you. Okay, we'll go on to 6B, which is the applicant owner, William Byer, in care of Lucille Sells of North Drawn Design, requests approval of significant architectural modifications to the existing home and attached accessory garage located at N57 W67 84 Center Street, and this 0.17 acre property is zoned RS5, single family residential. Okay, Mary, thank you.
This is an existing single-family residence on the corner of Center Street and Evergreen Boulevard. And with the new residential design guidelines that were recently adopted, one of the triggers for sending a house plan modification to the Site and Architectural Review Board and on to the Plan Commission for final action is a significant change in the roof lines of the structure. And so in this case, they've got an existing home where the rear facing roof has been popped up, it's been dormered. And they now propose to do that same treatment off the front of the house, pop that up into a dormered second floor, and then also add a front porch with a shed roof type design over the top of that. Then they're doing something similar to the existing detached garage that faces Evergreen. And so this did go to the Site and Architectural Review Board on June 23rd, and they really had no concerns and were pleased with what they saw in the plans, with just a couple of specific recommendations. And one is there's a big favor in the residential design guidelines toward authenticity of things. And the concern on the dormer was in the second story south facing. The windows, there was a double set of windows with shutters that would only have closed over a portion of those windows. And they really urged toward putting a single window with appropriately scaled shutters. And they're using a rather nice shutter selection, actually. But so there's an updated plan on your table tonight that does reflect a change to move that window to a single hung window and shutters that are appropriately sized. The other concern of the Site and Architectural Review Board was that the front porch base not be just a concrete solution, but rather be a skirted solution with slatting, something relatively indicative of the neighborhood. And so that too, you'll see in the updated plans on your table has been addressed by the property owner and their architect. Property owners are here today. That's all I have to share with you. I'll turn it over to the commission for discussion, possible action.
And I think that was a good summary of the concerns, and it's AD 200 is, I have the old one here and the new ones, and it went from 2 windows to 1 with larger shutters. And then the skirt has sort of the articulated pattern on the bottom, whereas the previous one was unclear. So it appears to have addressed what the concerns that we brought up.
This is John, Mayor. I'm going to abstain from engaging in this particular agenda item for possible future conflict. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jack,
Yeah, there'll still be 4 of us, so we're good. Anybody else?
Jack, I have a question just for the SARB. Did you see this updated one, or is this just basically reflecting what your comments were? Did the SARB look,
No.
did they receive this?
No.
They did talk about making sure that they tune into the packet for this plan commission agenda. And those updated plans are in the packet as well. So anybody who had concerns was encouraged to make sure they double check this packet.
Cause I mean, the single window and the windows up top, I was looking at the picture of the original house, and they have like an 8/8 mullion pattern, like a kind of a finer grain mullion pattern. And now these are going down to kind of a 4/4 simplified mullion pattern, which is fine. But then I think proportion becomes important. And I think that the new version, usually like to see mullions that are more vertically oriented. In other words, the short end is on bottom and the mullions go, proportionally vertically, instead of here, they're horizontal now because I made it one window.
Mhm.
And I
You want to
totally
see the old one?
Yeah, I see the old.
Oh,
one.
it's in.
And I think that, the old one, actually, the proportion of the windows is better. The shutters are the issue, but the windows actually, the way that those work it's really more correct. So I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if the SARB, if how you, Jack, you're on the board, how do you feel about the new window layout? Does that address what you guys were looking at?
Well, yeah, I think I'm on there because I'm on here, not because I'm an architect. So,
You see, and he's got no skills. Sid. Well, he's got plenty of skills, but
So,
not that one.
I don't know that I'm qualified to opine on that. I see your point as you look at both of them. It's,
At first, I thought that the June 12th version was the new one. The first time I looked at it, I thought, oh, that's nice. Those windows work nicely. Then this is the new one. Does anybody have any?
I would add 2 things. One is there was discussion about, really desiring to maximize the daylight because that's going to be the primary bedroom up on the 2nd floor there. And so that's why they came originally with a double. And also the architect, at least one of the architect members on the SARB did say that they will be interested to hear what the plan commission's thoughts are on these recommended, modifications on these plans. So, it's a.
Well,
and it's, as always, there's one architect was absent, and then you've got
Correct.
2 or 3 others over there that, and each one has sort of a different feeling for it. And I mean, we made a motion and we passed it, but you know, some people feel more strongly about an issue than
Yeah,
others.
right. And I mean, I don't feel super strong about it. I guess, the question is maybe the applicant, you guys here?
Property owners.
Are you replacing all the windows on the front or just it's an addition? It's just in the dormer, so new windows will be in the dormer. And so the windows that you replaced previously on the ground floor, do they have that pattern, just a 4 you know, the mullion pattern, 4/4? So you'd be matching that. Okay. Tim, it does match, it does match, I guess, you know, the lower level windows.
Are you talking the next page, 80?
Sorry, I'm looking at the
82.
8200 that's stated 7/1/26.
Look at the next page, maybe 82. No.
I was comparing the two.
Here's the old,
Yeah,
this is from the previous
right,
submission.
right.
It's probably in here somewhere.
It looks like the new one matches,
It does,
It
Lower level
matches the lower
windows.
level.
right.
Yeah,
matches the lower level
I
windows.
think that's a nice, you know, then that's a nice justification for that. Anyways, I just want to, I want to discuss it. If everybody's satisfied with that, and you as SARB feel like that satisfies the comments that came from there. I mean, I always want to take the lead of the SARB too, and you know,
Well, I feel like it does, but you're doing it without a drawing as well.
yeah,
So-
understood.
You know, it's just a discussion. I
Uh,
feel like it satisfies it, but again,
I don't,
it's not
I
drawn.
mean, I don't,
you know,
it's like one of those things where I feel like if it matches the lower level, if you're replacing all the windows, you know, now I'd feel like, hey, you make the adjustment to maybe reflect more of the historic divided lights and things like that. But I think that if you're just doing this and it's matching the lower level, that sounds good, you know?
Okay.
Yep.
Jim, did you want to say anything at all? Or did you, maybe you did already, I don't know.
Mayor, do you have any comments on it or?
No, I sat in on the SARB at that point in time and, again, I don't have those skills, we know that. But I think that this, from what I could follow, I think that, or from what I understood, I think that this kind of addresses the direction they were going. Do you, Jack?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I guess unless there's something else, how about a motion to approve the revised drawings, the revised plan that you saw tonight, or that you have here?
I'm sorry, Pat, maybe a little closer to the microphone. Did you say you
Oh, I'm
made a
sorry.
motion to approve?
No, I'm sorry, I said, could I get a motion from one of you
Oh.
to approve this? I apologize.
I'll move to approve the revised plans as noted in the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and no one's opposed, so
luck.
we're good, with one abstention.
Look with it, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Lucio. We're gonna go to C, which is, the applicant, property owners, Robert and Bridget Henry, in care of Kate Schley of, Kate, I never say it right, Schley, sorry. Coach House Homes request approval of significant architectural modifications to the existing home and detached accessory garage located at W66 and 541 Madison Avenue. This 0.32 acre property is zoned RS5, single family residential. And Mary. Can you guys hear me okay?
It's, Pat, it's a little lower volume than normal, but
Yeah, you know, I'm
Oh,
going back and forth. I should be looking at, I've got the screen or the Zoom up on my personal computer and I'm going back and forth to my other laptop. And so I need to be facing my personal one when I'm talking. So just remind me, okay?
you're better. It sounds better now.
Okay, I'll face it. Thank you. Okay, Mary.
This is an existing residence on Madison Avenue where they have a single-family dwelling and a detached garage in the rear. Because they're adding more than 25% of the existing floor area in this addition, under the residential design guidelines, that triggers a review by the Site and Architectural Review Board and approval by the Plan Commission before it can proceed to construction. So you'll see in the picture on the second page of the staff report, this is an existing stucco finish home. And in the addition, the applicant is utilizing materials that simulate that stucco appearance. There was concern on the part of the Site and Architectural Review Board that the use of the stucco-like panels, because it requires the use of batten strips to conceal the seams, was creating a different kind of an aesthetic than the balance of the existing home. And so they had hoped and given some guidance on how that might be minimized in a revision before it came to the Plan Commission. And so in large part, and the builder architect is here this evening to address this as well. I think principally what has changed here is that they have taken, on the advice of the SARB, which was to put a skirt board around the building and use shakes, simulated shakes going up to be more consistent with the historic kind of flavor of the home, that what the applicant did is incorporated that shake into some elements of that first floor portion of the addition, but still continues the use of the panels with the batten strips. And then there was some concern on the part of the Site and Architectural Review Board with respect to the hardware that was shown on the overhead door of the original plan. And that appears to have been corrected for, and they're now using a windowed garage example in this updated plan. So there was only one condition from the planner's perspective, and that was the issuance of a building permit prior to start of construction. But the Plan Commission is asked to consider the Site and Architectural Review Board's recommendation and come to a decision about whether to approve as presented or whether to incorporate any modifications. Like I said, Kate Schley is here from Coach House Homes as well, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Do you guys want to make any comments, or do you want to
This is
throw
John.
it out to Kate? Yeah. Go ahead, John.
I just love seeing properties like this, Kate. It's awesome. It's so fun to see, and I appreciate the comments from the SARB also. And I appreciate your write-up relative to your explaining it also. I'm going to defer to Jack and say relative to the aesthetics of the property, but it's so fun to see. It's just a beautiful home.
Thank you.
Well, I think Mary summarized the concerns of the SARB with looking at A201, the old one and the new one. There are significant, the old version had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertical batten boards. In the new version has 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if I'm not mistaken, you sort of maybe flipped them or got a bigger one or however you solved for that. I guess the question for this board is that sufficient? And it's the other, the baseboard issue, trying to find my note on where that was, but Mary, can you help me?
She did build up that skirt board.
Yeah.
On the bottom.
Yes,
On what would be
on the
A2?
A201 of the updated plan. On the-
Yes, okay, I see that now. Yes, it's definitely the lower left-hand west elevation number 2 there.
West and south elevation, it's real obvious.
And
yeah.
south too, yes, yes. Those are the 2 primary issues that I have in my notes, and the applicant has explained in their write-up why they're doing it this way, so.
I mean, I think this is a super well done addition, just super sensitively designed building and looks fantastic. I think the changes are positive. I don't mind the board and batten. I'd actually rather have less battens then, but if you guys are using hardy panels or something, that's why you need some battens. I mean, I think you're doing it very nicely, and I think it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, we were basically going off of SARB's comments and trying to bring at least that horizontal pattern that you see on the front porch of the existing home. So that's kind of replicating what you're seeing on the front porch. I do, Mary, want to make a note though, what they are seeing on this rendering for the garage, we weren't planning on the windows. That wasn't what was presented on the first one. I think what Paul's request was to take the
Hardware.
hardware off, which
It
is fine.
was.
Those are just magnetic anyway, but
There weren't windows in the original.
correct.
No.
I was just pointing out that it now has windows, but you're
Yeah,
not going to do windows.
they
Okay,
don't want windows in there. That will
Okay.
be a fully heated garage.
okay,
in
that's
there, so they
good to
want
know, so
privacy
I can
and-
share that with the building inspector.
Correct. And in the insulation factor of it, since it is a fully heated garage.
Okay, as long as that flies with the
Just to
commission.
make sure that was in the.
Okay.
Yeah. Kate, and I'm sure that one or two of the owners are there right now, but I just want to say, this has always been one of my favorite Cedarburg homes. I've always loved it in all of our years here as I drive by it, and now you've made it even more favorite. And, of course, I have many favorites out there, but I truly believe it's beautiful. And again, I don't have, if Jack and then Sig are comfortable with, the manner in which you're following, SARB's suggestions and, working with what you can do to make this happen, I really, really love this. Thank you. Thanks for making the investment to the owners.
You-
Thank you.
Are-
Bridget Henry.
Are you happy the way this came out? I mean, it's-
Yeah, I think I could go either way on the skirt board just because it's not anywhere else to be found on the rest of the house. And I just also know it's going to be an additional cost.
Thank you, Kate.
Well, I'll say about the skirt board though, that the practical side of that is that you're not going to use your weed whacker against the hardy. It actually does offer a little protection, for the base.
Yeah,
sh-
we were still planning on doing an AZAC base regardless, but this now has to be significantly,
It's really taller.
yeah.
I mean, either way, I like the previous battens didn't I mean, I think the new one is great. I think it's just a matter of taste, preference.
Yeah, I mean, most of the discussion was on the panels.
The
It
stucco,
was
yeah.
in the panels, and I would say that the skirt board related to the use of the shingle, the shake look material. The idea in that respect was kind of paired with the skirt board leaning and then leading into shake look. I don't think it necessarily was put a skirt board and then the panels and battens.
Where was the shake interacting with the ground?
There was just a suggestion from SARB to show a full shake instead of the hardy panels. We did
Completely.
look at that and the homeowners also did not care for it. And then I also voted against it just because there's no shake on the entire first floor. So you're kind of calling more detail to that this is an addition.
Mhm.
Is the existing main elevation, is that upper story shake or is that shake?
Yeah, the existing house is completely shake on the second floor only
Yeah.
and then the stucco on the first. So we're trying to replicate that with,
Right,
and that is hardy shake and then hardy panels.
yeah. I think the shake on the upper floor is very consistent.
Mm-hmm. We
Mhm.
didn't
I-
want to add it below because it just seemed like it was off balance.
Looking at A201 on the new one, Sig,
Yeah.
you do see that?
Yeah, I see the base
baseboard in
and
the back.
frankly, if the owner, you baseboard,
The skirting.
Right.
skirt board.
Yeah, I think before it seemed to match the original a little bit better without it. So I would prefer without if that would get approved.
It's hard, I can't speak for anyone else
Yeah.
because they, again, haven't seen the drawing, but I think Mary's point about that baseboard comment was, okay, if it's shake.
Yeah, more related to a shake version of
Yeah.
it.
So we might be pinning it onto a donkey that doesn't exist.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could remove that baseboard without any, without any issue. In fact, I agree with you. If you look at the background, the original stucco building has kind of a smaller, more fine-grained base to it, and this kind of almost calls out that it's the addition starting here because you got this big baseboard on the bottom.
Whereas if it were one
Whereas more
similar,
continuous, call it that,
yeah.
in one line, that would look great too.
I would agree with that, especially in light of the,
Yeah,
I just want to clarify, when you say baseboard, you're talking the horizontal board that's
thicker on the bottom.
thicker on the bottom. When I look at the old drawing, I'm gonna say it's 4 inches versus 8 or 12 inches.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, skirting.
So just to be clear, you're saying go back to the 4 inch? Got it. Okay.
I'd like to see consistency across the board.
Option D without the skirt.
As long as
Agreed with
as
that.
long as that's what she wants, I'm all in.
Yeah. That is the preference.
Okay, okay,
The architectural modification that is shown in option D, without the addition of the skirt board. And
Well, with it matching the front skirt, or,
it's going to be this.
yes,
There you go.
yes, perfect.
we got a second?
I'll second it. This is John.
Thanks,
I have
John.
a comment, though, a little minor just addition there. That is that, understanding that the garage doors do not have glass as shown
Yes.
rendering, which is fine.
No, that's really good that you said that, Sid. Okay. And John, you're fine with that
Yeah,
as a second?
I'm sorry, the garage door will have glass?
It will
No,
not.
no.
They said that the garage door will not have glass and that's what they want. They don't want glass, so they're,
It didn't have glass when it was in front of the SARB. The SARB just wanted the change in the hardware that was on the door. So they've now taken that hardware away, but inaccurately, it reflects windows and those will not be in there.
Ms. Henry, what do you want?
I think we were advised not to do windows since we are heating. So it should be a full insulated door. So that's what I prefer.
Okay, so there was a motion, a second with modification or an amendment to the motion, and you both are in agreement with it.
Yep, I think we're all on the same page, Mayor.
Okay, that being the case, all in favor? Aye. And no one's opposed? Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you for the investment to the hand raise.
Good luck with it.
project.
Okay, hang on. We're gonna go to D, which is applicant property owner IY2Q LLC in care of Aaron Nagel of Keller Inc. requests approval of modifications to the existing site and building architecture located at W61 and 14250 Taunton Avenue. This 3.8 or 3.48 acre site is zoned M2. It's the general manufacturing district. Mary?
Sure. You can see on page 2 of the staff report, kind of the only street view that you can capture of this building. It's a pre-existing building along with another building you can't see that sit on this lot. It's currently used for indoor parking storage, so just vehicles are parked in there. And what they'd like to do is build out the northwest corner of the building for an actual shop use. It would be shop use in support of a contractor who has plow vehicles, that kind of thing, that they would like to maintain in that building. And so to do that, they need to put in 4 new overhead doors and 1 additional man door. And then they also need to make some site adjustments with respect to paving and installation of a new sanitary lateral and some stormwater management. So the SARB did take a look at this. They were satisfied with how the architecture pans out with the addition of these doors. And really had no specific objections to raise on this. I had put into my report several conditions that I generally just put these out there because we want to make sure that if any of these are a catch, we want to get it covered. So condition number 1 was to provide a site landscaping plan for review and approval by staff. And I put that in there because you can see there is an existing tree in a very small landscaped area along that north side of the building, and that will go away as a result of this change. And my suggestion was we would try to find some alternate landscaping solution that would be of some benefit. And to be honest, even in talking with the applicant, they are requesting a relief from that requirement. And I'm not sure where I would press them to put landscaping that will be beneficial to anyone on this site. Second condition I had recommended was the applicant to provide an exterior lighting plan for review and approval by staff before issuance of a building permit. They did submit that plan, and I've had a chance to review it and the fixture types, and they look fully compliant in terms of being cut off wall packs, and the foot candles on the ground are very low at the property lines. Applicant to provide a dumpster location and screening plan. They have said that they do not intend to have outdoor trash receptacles of any kind, dumpsters or containers. And so the condition should be modified to say that if and when they desire to have outdoor receptacles, they would have to provide a screening plan and location for staff approval before they do that. Condition 4, applicant to secure a building permit prior to construction. And condition 5, that the city engineer will review all the grading, drainage, erosion control, stormwater management, and utility plans that go with this plan prior to issuance of a building permit. So with that, I'll turn it over to the commission for discussion action.
Thank you, Mary. Comments or questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, this one went through pretty easily. I think some people didn't even realize it was in the city of Cedarburg. Can't see it from anywhere. There were very few concerns.
Anybody else?
You have a question, and Mary, is this the drawing that was in the packet?
Yes,
They weren't changed. So, because I saw.
they were not changed, correct.
Yeah, I saw some inconsistency with, and I'm not touching it now, but, it looked like there was some exterior, work that would be done that included a trench drain on the exterior. So the civil drawing showed a trench drain outside, the architectural drawing showed trench drain inside. And I just.
Our guy is here.
It's both.
Oh, it is both.
It's
Yep.
both, yep. Yeah,
Okay.
with the grade on the site, everything pitches sort of towards the building. So we have to catch that water, obviously, otherwise you'd be regrading the entire site to get positive drainage from the building, so. Yep, so there's one on the outside and the owner would like one on the inside as well, just for his vehicles. It's snow plowing equipment, things like that, so drainage that will go to the trench drain when things are inside melting off, basically.
That was a great catch. I see that. What do
to
you
do
do
with
with your
water.
trash now?
It's Birchwood landscape, so whatever he does with it now, I never really asked. He just said that he doesn't need anything for that small area. So
There
I'm
is-
assuming he's taking
yeah.
whatever trash he has and putting it wherever he goes with it now. I don't know if there's a refuse container at.
There's no
Birchwood or-
business occupancy in this building. It's purely long-term storage and parking of vehicles. And that's really what it's going to continue to be, with the exception of this new shop space for the owner
Yeah.
and his
So if the
company.
use, I mean, there's permitted uses in this industrial district.
It is
And
permitted in
at
the
what point would
M2.
it trigger you to look at something? If something else moved in here, they could just operate.
Every new occupant is
Every new
required to get an
occupant.
occupancy permit,
Okay.
and those
an
come by
occupancy
me.
Permit.
Yep,
And what if it's permitted by right? You'd say, great.
yep,
And then would you ask then where are you going to put your trash?
I would. Yeah,
So that there's a trigger, in other words, okay, now you're comfortable that there is no trash, there is no dumpster just kind of sitting behind the whatever.
Right.
There is,
We-
I can tell you, Joe does have other trash receptacles at adjacent buildings.
So that they're going so trash goes somewhere.
Well, if there's trash.
Right, I guess my point is just that that this is a trigger, right? You're getting site plan review. It's a point at which we can say, well, you know what, to really bring this more compliant with what we do is you want to have a trash enclosure. But of course, nobody wants to put added cost on anybody's project if they don't need to. But I just would like to feel reassured that that there's going to be some triggering event, if something new happens here, that there's not going to be just a couple of dumpsters hanging out outside. And
Yeah.
we just have nothing to say about it at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We do, anytime a new occupancy is proposed in any building in the city, that occupancy permit circulates to the departments. And I look at it from the standpoint of parking. Is there adequate parking on there to support that kind of a use? Is there adequate dumpster space, and is it located close enough to serve the type of tenant you're going to be? Those kind of things all get reviewed.
So if that's the case, I'm comfortable with not going with dumpster. And the thing is so hidden. I mean, I know where it is and you really don't even see it whatsoever.
It's almost impossible to see,
Right.
from any public road, just that corner of Taunton Avenue there.
Right.
Anybody
Mary,
else? Oh,
I'll
go ahead.
I'll make a motion, but I think I think based on what I've just heard, and I think we're okay with not requiring a dumpster enclosure for no dumpster.
For the
I
time
think,
being.
and then, but what about the tree again? Like, just,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, but say-
I kind of looked over the air photo and the site.
like where to put it? Yeah.
And it couldn't really conclude that there was a good place to add.
And it's the same comment,
Green
it's
space.
just not visible, it's not,
Yeah.
I'd be,
Backs
okay-
up to the railroad tracks
I'd be okay with eliminating
Hey,
the.
donate a tree to a park.
and a truck park. Yeah.
Unless anyone objects, I'll make a motion to approve the modifications of the existing site and building architecture on Taunton Avenue with the elimination of the requirement of a tree. I'm not going to say the whole landscape plan, but just, no tree. And then number 3, elimination of the dumpster location.
I'll second it, actually. What the heck?
Until they bring a dumpster or a trash can on the site,
Yeah.
and they're going to put one
Well, I'll
in.
make that part of my motion until such time that a use requires an on-site dumpster.
Right. And the second agrees with that. We got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one's opposed?
Good luck.
Good luck with it.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna go to, I'm sorry. What did you say, Mary?
I apologize. Nothing.
Oh, okay. You can talk anytime you want.
I'm kind of talking out of order.
Okay. 6E is applicant prospective new property owner Egan Gardner Development and Kara Zimmerman Architectural Studios, Inc. Requests site and architectural plan approval to develop, construct a 71,100 square foot spec warehouse light industrial building on a vacant 5.9 acre lot located N118 W6676 Forward Way. This M3 Business Park Zone property is currently owned by the city of Cedarburg and our business park on Highway 60. Mary?
Right. So I've reviewed this plan against both the M3 zoning district standards and the covenants and restrictions for the business park. And I'll go through both of those quickly. As far as the bulk and spatial standards of the M3, they're fully compliant. Building setbacks, yards, maximum height requirements, they are good on. Parking, and this came up with the other spec multi-tenant industrial building that got approved in the business park. There are different standards, parking stall requirements, depending on what the actual use breakdown turns out to be in the building. And I've shown those. And if I made some assumptions about parking or about the breakdown of use, I said if 30% is office, then there would be 125 stalls required to support that. And if 30% of the building is manufacturing, another 54 stalls would need to be added. And if the balance, 40% is warehouse, then approximately 12 more stalls would have to be added, versus the 86 stalls that are shown on the site. So what I said to the SARB, and I'll say it again tonight, is with buildings like this, and this developer does have a history of developing these types of buildings. I don't know developers who would choose to underpark themselves. And we don't like to require excessive parking if it's really not going to get used. So the Plan Commission does have the final word on whether to hold them to the requirements in terms of the stall count. According to our code, that stall count can be waived and modified by the Plan Commission in your approval. Stall sizes are compliant at 10 by 18. And then there's a loading dock that faces due north. It's all overhead door dock space on the north side. Given the curve in the road, you'll see that rather plainly coming through. So they've put together a fairly thorough landscaping plan to break up that line of sight. It'll start out as an immature screen, but the plants they've selected and the planted spacing, it would appear that that will fill in very nicely over time. With respect to the declaration of covenants and restrictions for Highway 60, they have modified their landscaping plan to bring plantings in along the west side of the building where that previously was in the landscaping. It faces, the west side of the building faces a waning wooded area within a dedicated public parkland, which is a very natural park. So that's been corrected for. The second point is that the buildings must be designed by an architect or engineer. All sides, elevations, or facades have to be visually pleasing and aesthetically compatible with the surrounding environment. And in this case, I think the compatible with the surrounding environment started with Welo and their architectural design, their use of windows, glazing, this kind of thing. And then I think it filtered down to the Philip Litho construction, where there was substantial use of windows and glazing to really give it a professional building appearance. And then it carried through, certainly with the Cornerstone Christian Daycare. They have a very thoughtful, albeit different architectural style, but then the Luther Group plan was also subjected to some very detailed standards. So there is a revised plan on your tables tonight, and that does show a step toward increasing that glazing on the south building elevation. That's the elevation specifically that the SARB was concerned about. So that has been expanded. Yes, that's the revised plan. Yes.
This is, let's be clear, this is not glass.
It is not.
So we're talking.
Yep. Right. And I talked to the applicant about that and, the question of what is enough. And, I couldn't answer that specifically for them. But said that I thought they had to make a solid, thoughtful gesture toward improving that south elevation with glazing. So that's what they're proposing. There are a few conditions that I had recommended be attached to this plan approval if you're inclined to go that route tonight. Number one, that the rear loading dock and the extensive pavement and circulation area north of the dock will not be used as a parking lot. It's not a trucking terminal. It is really circulation space for the docks. Number two, there's no outside storage of materials, equipment, and supplies at the site, which are either proposed or approved, none. Third, rooftop HVAC can't extend higher than the height of the shortest parapet wall on the building, and all HVAC screening must be screened from the or HVAC equipment must be screened from the surrounding view. Number four, any signs that will be proposed will have to go through the standard sign permitting process. Number five, exterior gutters and downspouts are required to be installed only along the side and rear of the buildings. In this case, on the curve, even those side gutters will face a street, at least the east side or northeast side. Number six, the dumpster enclosures should specify that that's a split face CMU material and it should be color matched to the primary building color, not just a block material, but exactly what type. Number eight, prior to any occupancies in this building, the applicant agrees that the city planner will review and consider the scale and nature of each proposed use or and its operating characteristics, and make a determination about whether sufficient parking is available on the site to support that particular use. And that's a progressive analysis, right? So user number one could come in, and if they command the demand for all 86 spaces, well, then we're going to have a real jam when it comes to, so that conversation will be had with every tenant occupancy is, are you aware, what percentage of the total parking is being allocated to this tenant along the way. Number nine, city engineer review and approval of all grading, drainage, stormwater management, utility, erosion plans prior to the issuance of a building permit. And number 10, applicant to satisfy the requirements of the city engineer, fire department, utility, and other departments, including but not necessarily limited to the comments that you see on the 2.5 last pages of the report. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the commission for discussion and possible action.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I'll just start off with a general comment about the business park. With if this gets approved and built, this will be the counting Velo, Phillips, Luther, the daycare, the fifth building on the site, leaving two lots. Lot one, which is right on Highway 60. And then there's a retention pond, and then lot two, which is a smaller lot just south of the retention pond. And if I'm not mistaken, when we underwrote this for the TIF district, we assumed one of the lots would never sell. So just to be conservative. So, this almost builds out the entire park at this point. I think lot one, I think we've had some proposals on it, but they've fallen through, but it's a very visible lot and very marketable lot. So I think this is a great success for the business park if it goes through. And then I think Mary, did you talk about the driveway consolidation?
I forgot to talk about the driveway consolidation. So when it went to the SARB, I was recommending that the two south driveways be consolidated in the center so that the handicap ramp they were proposing way off on the west edge of their sidewalk would not be sitting way out there because it doesn't align with anything. So in their original plans, they had a handicap ramp going through there. There is an existing handicapped ramp just to the east of the westmost driveway, and that does align with a handicap ramp in front of the Cornerstone Daycare. So the city engineer retracted his comments in the most recent comments and said he would be comfortable with those four driveways, but take out the ramp that is placed too far west to align with any other ramp on the other side.
Okay, so I didn't read through them the second time, but
Yep.
So
Yep.
he's
His
okay.
comments came just a little later than everybody else's.
And I suppose just from ease of access and fire and whatever, two
Right.
driveways might be preferred, so,
Yep.
I'm looking at kind of it's a dead end condition,
yeah.
If you look at consolidating any of these, you're gonna have parking at a dead end. Not ideal
Yeah,
either.
snow plowing issues and stuff.
I'm sorry, Jack.
Oh, well, the only other comment on the previous version, the glass was below the canopy. And on the revised version, they've added glass above the canopy, and maybe the applicant can speak to this, but there was some talk about maybe going above it, but if you have an office in the front, are you putting a window that just looks into a rafters that doesn't go down into the office space and it's a window to nowhere? Is that, you know, realistic if it's not going to be lit? I think what people like about the Velos, you can see people in there and, you know, there's a purpose to the window.
There's a lot of high windows in Wheelo too.
But
That
you could see in, you can see the
you
lights.
can
you
see in,
You know,
yes,
you could see the
exactly.
factory go, you know, and there's.
Yeah,
it-
and this would all be clear glass.
Well, that was my other comment is I think the SARB felt that clear glass would be the way to go here. And it was hard to tell in this, it looks black on the drawing, but you could maybe tell us if that's clear or not. But
It is, yeah, we are anticipating clear glass.
okay,
And we took those, they were originally very narrow windows on the first iteration of this. And decided to increase them a little bit larger to wider. And then in this iteration, we also went taller. So those are 12 feet tall from the floor
Okay.
to the top of the window. And that's all going to be clear. So there's not going to be any, you know, anything blacked out at the top or anything like that. Our interior office spaces are going to be 12-foot ceilings.
Hmm.
So we're going to probably have tenants in here with only 700 square feet of office space. So they're going to be in a small space, but we wanted them to have just some height to their space to make it feel a little more open. So actually providing that light through that increased size glass, providing that light actually into where the folks are going to be working and have their office spaces made the most sense to us. And then on the northern part of the building, we added, you'll notice in the overhead doors, we added lights in all of those overhead doors to bring some light into the space that way. And then on the eastern side of the building, we added 2 clear story windows to actually shine into the warehouse space of that particular tenant space. So we tried to make considerations to bring a lot more light into the building and add as much glass as financially feasible. So,
And the west side, it wasn't conceived that the west side would be expanded anytime.
no, we're out of room over there. And we realized that just was up against a tree line essentially. So didn't feel like there was it was too necessary to add glazing over there.
Sir, would you identify yourself?
Sure, I'm Alex Egan with Egan Gardner Development
So you're the developer.
Developer, correct.
I guess I'd like to go back to the entrances, and I think more of them, so this is a challenging site. Definitely. It looks like in the back of the loading dock, probably just makes it with and so, you know, it'd be difficult to find a configuration to reduce those, but not only is it a lot of entrances, but it's on the curb. And then the building comes up to that curb. So I think it is a little bit of a safety concern. I know Forward Way should not have a lot of traffic, but I think that combination makes those entrances that are closer to that corner of the building is close, just to be a little bit more of a concern. So I would, you know, maybe engineering can work through this in their review to determine, is there a better spot? And I'm thinking more that, not the two westerly ones, but the one right after that comes right in the middle of that curve. And the other thing I didn't see in this drawing where the entrances from the development across the street are, but I suspect some of these must line up, that they're not staggered.
I would expect that they will try to line them up, yes.
I, off the top of my head, actually don't know that.
I think if we have entrances, and there's, I believe, the other development has 2.
And they have the Luther plans,
Yeah,
so,
just making sure we don't create even, you know, more of a challenge
Yeah.
there. The other thing with the loading dock area, I know it's heavy duty asphalt, but Was there a reason that you didn't use concrete there?
So this, our clear height on this building is 22 foot clear, which does not really lend itself to like, a distribution type tenant. Which a distribution type tenant would have heavy trucks coming in and out really frequently because they're turning inventory more frequently. Since you can't go high bay racking within our building, our building doesn't really lend itself to distribution type tenants. So we think it's gonna be like light duty service trucks are really gonna be our tenant profile. It's not gonna be big distributors bringing 53-foot trailers in. We're anticipating 9 total tenants, and they'll each be, you know, a couple thousand, 6,000, 7,000 square foot tenants. So
I guess a loading dock with asphalt is a red flag, and I don't think you see them very often. And I think that even if it's just going out 50 feet, to put concrete in there, I think that would be a long-term way to protect this area. The other, and so maybe with the lighter trucks, and I don't know how you can control that, but that's with the size, I wouldn't disagree that you're not gonna get maybe the real heavy truck in there, but that's what just chews up that asphalt. And the other concern with the asphalt a little bit is you've got some docks with levelers that's 4 feet down, and you've got docks that are up. There's this up and down, and it's all asphalt. And I think it becomes a little bit of a maybe snow clearing challenge, and they are spread out a little bit, but I think a lot of times we'll see for those 4-foot walls, retaining walls, and concrete wall, just a cleaner drop. And not always, and I think some of those gradual slopes are fine, but this almost gets to be this up and down. And it's all asphalt. I just think over time, that could be an area that gets worn out real quick, and even becomes a safety hazard with, you know, you're going from 4 feet down and then back up over that people are working back there, and it can be a little bit of a safety challenge, so.
I've done it the way I've got it laid out. I've done it on other buildings, and I think there's multiple ways you can certainly do it. We went with this also. I'm just going to speak to cost issues with this site. Adding a concrete apron adds a tremendous amount of cost, and the shape of the site, given the fact that it does have the curve in the road, I lose a lot of potential square feet of building that it's just a tough site to frankly shoehorn a building onto. So I lose a lot of square feet, which is rentable income, which is part of the reason I had to kind of whittle away in some areas related to cost. I said, well, I'll do long-term maintenance on the building versus absorbing that cost up front in order to make it work. So. Yeah.
Two more questions. The screening, is that going to be done kind of as they put them up and use screen walls around them, or what's the approach for screening we can?
So we, since these are going to be such small tenants, we just anticipate basically a condenser unit on the roof, like a residential condenser unit, which will only be about 3 feet tall. They're so far set back off the edge of the building that we do not anticipate them even being visible. So they're just such small units that they'll be, 65 feet off the edge of the, building, or 50 feet off the edge of the building. So I don't think we're even going to be able to see them.
So you're not going to have rooftop units?
We'll just have condensers up there. We'll have like a split unit. So we're not going to have rooftop units.
I mean, what are you doing for heat then? Resnors or something just?
Yeah, so in the warehouse, we're going to have Resnor gas-fired unit heaters. So currently we have 4 of them planned, which it's just a big empty shell at the moment until tenants start to come to us and start to lease the space. We'll add accordingly, 1 per tenant.
Sell it right with the unit.
So, but right now it's really just accommodating, like showing the building in the winter so the pipes don't freeze and keeping the space warm throughout the winter as we're showing the building to potential tenants. So we've got 4 of them planned through along the dock line. So above a few of the overhead doors along the dock line.
Last question I have is this built up?
It's precast, yep. So,
Would it be precast
yeah, so
site or?
Stone Cast is our supplier, and they're in Germantown, and they've, some of these panels are already made. So they're moving ahead. So they're cast at their site in Germantown and shipped in. So, yeah.
I just think with all those things, I know this is a tough site to work with and it's squeezed in, but I have a concern that this isn't of the quality maybe of some of the other buildings, just from the site, the layout, and if all the way around, I'm a little bit concerned that way. But not, I understand certainly with what you're dealing with that poses those challenges.
All right. Mayor Tomei, do you have any other comments?
No, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. I don't have what's on your desk, but that's okay. I just want to see, Sig, had you had anything to say? I think maybe John said something.
I have a couple of questions. One is that is the residual parcel that is south of Wheelo and north of this, is that going to be a lot, or is that part of the Wheelo property?
That's Velo. That's
It's
Velo.
Velo for a 50,000 future square foot expansion. They have a,
I feel like that residual parcel is not buildable.
it's not.
It's okay. So that's part of the, okay.
Yeah, they have
That-
they have a false, or whatever you call it, a metal
the
wall
back
on
and it can come out.
the south part of Velo.
Velo can, okay. And the only other thing is, about the concrete apron stuff, I agree. I mean, it's a dicey one. Is it, I don't know. Is there some kind of middle ground where you can have the apron out to where the dock actually starts to go down, that would be the edge of the apron? At least there's an area of concrete that's more, it control the flow into the trench drains and things like that, rather than having it all asphalt.
We can certainly look at it. I don't recall off the top of my head the cost per square foot to do the concrete. I mean, this is a heavy duty asphalt that I'm proposing, so it's got a thicker stone base than your typical car park areas.
Mary, I'm sorry, is that something we can, I'm just curious, we can dictate whether, it's sort of a maintenance issue. If he wants to maintain it more in 20 years, that's up to him.
I
Disagree.
Yeah, I believe all we call for is hard surfaced off-street parking, asphalt or
The
concrete.
tires will tear up the asphalt, no question.
I
Beyond-
can't recall what was used on or on Luther Group either. I can't recall. They did, okay.
What did you just say?
Concrete, the whole back or the whole apron?
No,
How much?
I'm not sure how far back it went, but it was just at the dock. Typically, the truck's not gonna be, more than 50 feet. And these are big trucks. So if, smaller trucks, it's a different situation, but unusual to go 50 feet if you're asphalt all around it, 50 feet of concrete and then go to asphalt.
I think as a part of site plan approval, you can dictate that because it does have appearance and endurance implications, and I believe you can call for that.
Okay,
Mary, you mentioned the dumpster. I see the drawings say CMU BC, but you said it can't be CMU, painted CMU?
that it needs to be specified as split face CMU, not just flat, plain CMU block, and that it must be color matched to the building.
And let me just clarify. If there's mechanical units on the roof, they have to be screened.
They do.
Okay. Just, you understand that?
So even if they can't be seen from,
If they're visible from the surrounding view, they have to be screened. And we
what-
kind of try to use the
Right.
reasonable person surrounding view. You know, you can't expect it necessarily to not be visible from Highway 60 entirely, but we've not had any problem working it out with everyone else who's had this condition.
okay.
And I'm confident we'll do the same here. Couple 100 yards in every direction around the building has been kind of a rule of thumb. Unless there's a particular vista that we're trying to protect, and then we might go a little further with it.
From out
What is-
here,
Can I ask what is the vertical gray? Is that precast?
Yes,
Just a colored,
yeah, just a color differentiation. Do you mean the, around the entrances?
yeah, when I see that, when I was looking at it earlier, I had asked one of the SARB, if I didn't know if this was glass or if this is, but you're saying this is just precast.
I can show you, I actually have if you'd like to see it, kind of what it's gonna be. Do you wanna take a closer look?
This isn't what it's gonna be?
It's
I
like
didn't,
a,
well, I didn't know if that was a metal panel or if that was
Precast,
precast.
precast, it's gonna be.
It's like got ribbed.
Oh, they're doing their, yeah, I'm familiar with this.
Yeah.
What, yeah, this certainly isn't what this represents. You see this? You guys see this? This is what these guys like doing this. They did this at Freighter and,
It'd be like a vertical orientation that.
Like a board form?
it's all like a board form, yeah.
Here's a little bit of dimension. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
See, what's your thought about the windows?
Yeah.
What, my only comment there with the windows is just that, in the past, when Adam and I, Mary, were like, you know, co-chairing the unofficial,
Yes.
Mhm.
on other buildings, we really looked at things like horizontal lines, that windows fell within certain organization on the elevations, things like that. And my only comment here, and I love the more glass, I like that. But actually, the previous scheme, actually, the glass is cut off at the top of the, let's say the canopy was like the regulating line and the glass fell under that.
Yep.
And so now that the glass goes above it, and it's not really, it's just kind of in the middle of the panel. You know, it's not like it's part of like the scheme where, oh, that this line picks that up, or it's part of this lintel line or header, you know, some kind of
Yeah.
other regulating feature. So you know, I don't know. Industrial buildings they're just really tricky because, you know, nobody wants to be too fussy, but we also just want to look at the really long, you know, the long-term appearance of this park. And every time a building has come through, we've taken time, and I think it's always improved, and it's probably more marketable as a result. You know, it's like more glass is great. People are going to like that better. And, you know, 12-foot ceilings, I think, are fantastic. And so I like the height of it. I'm just a little, I wish there's something more that it was tying to. It just feels like it's just added, it's like just a little more glass, you know, to satisfy the SARB rather than really having, you know, have it tie back into something.
Sig, can I just follow up with where Sig was? Again, I don't have the architectural skills, but I've listened to you guys for a long time. And I don't have the latest, you know, the 12-foot glass panels in front of me right now. So I don't want to diminish that, but I still feel like this is so stark, and I'm sorry, but so stark as opposed to the other requirements we've made in regard to Velo, to Luther, to Philip. And I feel like there's just a lot of solid space here and not a lot of open glass. And again, I don't know that there's a way to do that, but with my limited expertise, but having listened to you guys for a long time, that's what I feel when I look at it. I just feel like it really is stark.
I think this rendering, Mayor, just kind of makes it deceptive because I'm hearing clear glass and it's showing as black in this rendering. So it's not representative. And also with your batten, it looks like a metal panel to me here, but I'm familiar with your product that you're proposing, which is a cool look.
Yeah, thank you.
And so that these renderings really aren't a solid representation, I think, of what we're hearing.
Well, I'll certainly follow anything you guys are saying because one, you've got the skills and two, you've got the drawings in front of you.
I wonder, is there a way with, say, the apron? If you do have existing projects you can use it on and can prove, and this could be put on for Mike and his group as they do their review, which they have to do a final review of grading and everything like that, that we would leave that, say, open for verification of the engineer. Is that an option? But I think there is a lot of value to this project. I think as Jack mentioned, it fills in, you know, a tough piece in the park to, and there's a lot of good things about this. I hate to do something that, you know, doesn't allow us to move forward. But, and then the entrances, the safety concern with that, also having engineering verify, you know, the alignment of those entrances as well as the best of me. Trying to get these down to 3 could be a real challenge, but if there's some confirmation that, yeah, this can flow and be safe, it's a little bit hard. As I look at it, I don't see that with those entrances. But engineering, take a deeper look at that.
I think you can ask for that. Yeah, you can ask for that to be made a condition of the approval.
Well, echoing Jim's remark, it's a tough site. I think the building looks different than some of the other ones, but it's not an unattractive building. And, perhaps there'll be some signage. I don't know, will there ever be exterior signage on any of the spaces or,
That's a very good question. What is the signage concept?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would anticipate, sorry, somebody speak.
No,
no,
keep
go
going,
ahead.
keep going.
We would anticipate a monument sign somewhere with all the tenant names on it. So an interior illuminated monument sign out by more out by the street, and then tenant suite spaces numbers on each suite space. So
you wouldn't imagine a situation where there's a what's like a flex user, like what's a business that sells all the screws, like a Fastenal or something like
yeah,
that?
we would love to have Fastenal.
I mean, let's just say you have them though.
Yeah.
They like to have a little bit more of a kind of a retail presence. They might want signage.
Yeah.
I mean, is there,
In which case we would come in and ask for signage, in order to attract that type of a tenant. Because again, we're not pre-demising this space. It's all
Right.
gonna just be open currently, and then we'll demise later based on tenant need. So if somebody came in and said, hey, we'll take half the building, but we need to get signs on the exterior, we would try to accommodate them. Come back before we could do that.
I'm gonna jump here. Just your comment about we'd take half the building, then that goes back to, and I don't want to go away from the signs for a minute, but that goes back to the rooftop units too. Those rooftop units would be different than the smaller space units, I would assume, so would need additional screening.
Yes.
You got that. You got that. Okay.
Yep.
You're on board with that.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, back to signs again. I sidetracked. Sorry.
well, I think it's I think it's an important consideration just to give you flexibility and also so that there's some thought about where that could go. So I think that a lot of these smaller users, they do like to have signage, they do like to have presence and not just like, oh, it's on the monument sign, you gotta go look at 7352, you know, and they're gonna have just a window decal. I mean, I think that they could benefit from signage potentially. And I'd hate to kind of have the signage come back and be like, well, we're just gonna stick it here, but it's not really, it's not, you know, is it next to the window? Is it on top of there? Is in the dark band or the light band? I mean, that's, Jack, cause I think that you really raise an important question about whether there's signage, you know, whether there could, but.
I would say our signage plan kind of reflects the duration of these size tenants. So we don't want to put a sign up and 3 years later that tenant moves out because now they need to go to a 20,000 square foot space instead of an 8,000 square foot space. They've outgrown it. They're going to go somewhere else. And now we have to take that sign down and it just never looks. I feel like the next tenant, there's always like a shadow sign behind or like holes drilled in the building.
They
It's like,
spray paint the letters over.
yeah, it just ends up looking. So we're trying to minimize that long term for the building. And aesthetically, I just feel like maybe even 2 monument signs in this case. Would, you know, one at the northeast entrance and one on the south side of the building. Would probably be the best case because these are small tenants and they're like, they move a lot, you know.
So just a question. So is the front, is that already in production, colored concrete in production?
It is, yeah.
In other words, like I'm just thinking about one solution would be that, you know, that the bottom 2 courses would be that the deeper tan, and you have that light band that could either be your signage band or else the signage could fall into the band that's part of where the windows are. It's kind of like all the windows and doors are happening in the bottom, you know, 2/3, and then the top this feels more like a base middle top rather than now it's like the color bumps up around where the window is, comes back down. But so is that stuff already?
So the panels are being made and the reveals they're made.
Yeah. What about the color of the panel?
The color it's a gray. So we're painting the entire
You're
exterior.
painting
So
it.
we have flexibility regarding the paint scheme. But so it's just gray. It's showing up
I
as a
mean,
gray panel.
then my humble opinion, and just hear me out, is that if you took the bottom 2 bands and made them that same deeper tone, then it would eliminate my concern of those windows looking odd, just like they're just floating in there. It'd be kind of part of the bottom band. And if somebody wanted more windows, it'd make a reason to, you know, I don't know if precast can come back and maybe
You cut them in.
kind of cut in windows, right? Then at least you have a place to do it. It doesn't seem weird. It's all gonna be in that deeper tan part. And on the back elevation, the garage doors then would all be in the deeper tan area instead of being like, now the garage door, the bigger garage door bumps up and the tan goes up and it you know, a lot of up and down. So I mean, to me, that could be like at least to me, a satisfying solution where that all the ins and outs and the doors and everything else fits in the bottom 2/3 of the tan piece, and then you've got this band of the lighter color that is then really an accent band around the whole building, and that could be signage band, that could be other things happening up there. That's just my kind of whatever, without like messing around with window heights and where they're gonna be and things like that. But I don't know, anybody.
I think that takes away the starkness for me to a degree, Sig. You know, I used the word stark before, but I think that helps add some interest there across and consistency around the building.
There's something about the proportion of 2/3, 1/3 too. It's kind of a classic, like the bottom 2/3 then, and then the upper, you know. I can keep going, but
I think,
I won't.
I think what I'm hearing here is
Thank
If
you,
we
Jack.
change-
I appreciate this.
if we change the lower 2 bands to a darker color,
Yeah.
and then we ask our engineering department to give a good hard look at the durability of the apron in the back and the southeast driveway entrance for safety concerns on Forward Way. Subject to the planner's other comments. But we think perhaps that would be enough changes to make this acceptable to this commission. Is that a fair?
Let me just ask, did the SR, it sounds like to me like, did the SRB talk about the color at all?
I don't recall any discussion of the color.
So, because what I'm hearing, I think is this isn't necessarily reflective of.
Yeah,
Is that a fair statement?
yeah, so we definitely, we don't have the specific colors picked out because we were gonna do drawdowns, basically. We were gonna go out, paint the panels, a couple different, and do a few different iterations, and then make the color choice from there. But in general, the color tone was gonna be like dark, those vertical features were gonna be dark, and trying to create some like vertical.
Here's what I'm gonna ask you, in my mind, and you
Yes.
guys could object, because I think the colors haven't been defined necessarily, and I think this is partially of our past problems, and I think this should come back through the
Plan Commission?
SRB is what I was gonna say is.
Would
that-
you object to bringing colors back to us at some point, once,
No.
you said you're painting it, so they're still up in the.
Yeah, I mean, even if, I would even say if we could field paint, we're gonna have these up in the next, we would have them up in the next 2 months. If we could provide a few drawdowns, and then we could field paint for you and actually go to the site, and if everybody wanted to vote. we'd be
Drive
happy to
by,
do
yeah.
that.
No, I mean, I think you get to decide.
Sounds
I
like a
think,
bad
I think
plan.
you need to present to the SRB.
Okay.
Is it SARB or here? We had our kick at the cat.
You could defer the final approval of certain details back to SARB if you'd like.
Would you guys want to see it here, or, I mean, it's sort of SIG's
No, I just,
idea.
It's
We
the
didn't
color,
have any
I just,
objection to the colors.
that's
so.
my only.
Well, because what I'm hearing though is this isn't representative of necessarily what
Yeah,
is the final product.
so I think
Aesthetically.
I think the colors should come back. Question is, should they come back to SARB or should they come back here? I don't.
I think,
Say
I-
RB is architects.
you think SARB, John?
That's what I'm thinking, yes.
Okay, Mike, I don't want SARB to change the statement that SIG, made, that I think everybody was in agreement with the darker band around the base, consistently around the whole building. Well, when I say darker,
Well, we can make a motion, that's a plan commission motion.
okay,
Yeah, this is painted this, or painted this area, and then the color and detail can be up to the SARB.
yeah.
I mean,
Amongst them all, they've probably got more artistic talent than we do, since they've got 3 and we've got 1.
Exactly.
Okay,
okay. Should I make that motion that incorporates all of this?
could you?
I'm gonna ask that you incorporate, and respectfully what Jim is saying is our history is I have torn out plenty of asphalt in my career. It should be concrete.
How about I make the motion? And if you want to amend it by adding that, you can. Because I just think, it's his building, and if he wants to, if we have I mean, I don't know what the technology is for newer, he called it heavy duty asphalt. Maybe it's, it's thicker and it's the better base, and I think I just think,
We can discuss.
I don't know. I think it's up to him. I think it's up to, in my opinion, it's in the back. It's up to him, and that's how I would look at it. But
Yeah, I would agree with that until it gets to be more of a safety issue. And I think with heavier vehicles, it could be that. That's why I'm just a little bit, okay, maybe there is a heavy duty product that it could endure, and John, but like you, we didn't have.
We just never did it. But I could appreciate if you're pulling a van up here, it's one thing. If you're pulling up a 60-pound twin axle on a day like today,
I'm sure it'll be maintained. It's not going to be open holes. It's, you know, it's probably, if it has to be replaced in 30 years versus 50, I don't see that as a safety issue, in my own humble opinion. I mean, it's going to be patched up. It'll be, you know, there's work rules and OSHA rules and, you know,
there's professional liability insurance too.
yeah, the insurance company will make them do it if it's a, you know, if it's a problem. So
No, we pay for that.
The
Yeah.
safety dip down, but an asphalt pavement that goes up and down without solid retaining walls where you're in, you know, snow conditions. And it just, in my mind, this doesn't compute how it's gonna function and how weather and overtime. And that's where, you know, you look at Luker's and it's concrete walls. They do have some sloped areas that don't have retaining walls. So that's, you know, kind of a little bit, but this is much more, I guess, across the entire town. So if there's an issue, it's an issue across the entire town. So, but I'm just to the edge of saying, yeah, you know, let's make it concrete, period. Or I haven't seen the other, you know, projects you've done, you've developed these, this is how you do it. If you've got a system that works, I guess I would, you know, be interested to,
Alex,
pass it on to engineering to.
Mhm.
confirm it.
do you want to address any of this, Alex, with respect to the
I would,
asphalt?
I guess my only comment is the fact that the tenant size that we're attracting is, I mean, I've already said it, I guess, the tenant size we're attracting is not gonna be a high volume type company with trucks coming in and out. If they get one a week, it would be a lot, is really the type of tenant we're really going after here. It's like small manufacturing companies, service type companies. And these are more flex space type products, and even having a dock is a luxury. We're able to charge just a little bit more by giving them a dock. But most of these tenants don't even need a dock. So I don't see a high volume tenant coming in here, but I do understand like asphalt is not as durable long-term as concrete. I definitely, you know, that's not questionable. But again, with the sort of the constraints that I was working within from a cost perspective, there were just certain areas that I just, you know, ideally I'd put concrete back there. I would, ideally, in a perfect world, but I'm like losing 20,000 square feet of potential lease space because I got a huge curve on the side of my building. And it's like, in order to shoehorn this thing in here, where can I cut? I've already cut it down height wise, because I don't think we're going to attract distribution tenants. We took off the concrete apron. The windows were a huge consideration throughout this design. It's costly to add glass, and we were just like maximizing what we could while still falling within the, you know, a very constrained site. So, any areas, frankly, at this point where I can keep the design as is, it would be greatly appreciated. And, you know, as far as maintenance goes long-term, you know, again, we'll maintain these buildings like, as we don't want to deter tenants from coming in. We have the most stake in attracting tenants. So having a nice clean surface for them out back is important to us and important to us to attract tenants. So,
Can you share how you deal with snow with that type of dock? Because that's probably my biggest concern with approving it, is do we have a safety issue?
mhm.
There's,
Well, it's just snow plows. Yeah, we would just go in, drive down, drop the blade, back it out. That's how we would do it. So.
And all the sidewalls of snow just kind of comes into the pit.
Mhm. But it's not
No,
like,
there's no snow, like you're not plowing, there's no snow on the side slopes, in other words, where there's asphalt. That's
no.
gonna all come into the pit and you're gonna drag it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Two comments from out.
I've done it on a lot of other I could show you on other buildings that I've done it. It's just never been an issue. You know, the guys they'll salt that area. They'll clear the snow that's there and they'll salt the area just like everywhere else. They don't go like drive along the length of the building and, you know, plow snow.
Right.
They like drag it out, back
Right.
it out to a flat surface and then get it off.
Well, there's hand railings, right? The other thought, when you said safety, I was thinking about the man doors in the back where you're coming out a door and there's a 45-degree slope into the pit, you know, but there's a handrail, right? That
Mhm.
comes all the way kind of 30, 40 feet. Is that what that dark line is?
No, there's not a
There's
handrail
not handrail.
on those. It just slopes off. And it's a,
So I thought
yeah.
I saw that in one of the sections or somewhere. I thought that I saw a
I think
handrail.
there is a handrail like on the far east side.
I was looking at the north elevation.
Yeah. On that one section is, but the rest of those are they're just sloped.
See, cause I was looking at that and I was seeing handrails at every dot. When I look at that, I'm seeing handrails.
I think
Are you not seeing?
come out this door and you're going down there.
Well, I think, but aren't you seeing I'm seeing handrail.
There's
I
a
see
handrail
there is a
below it,
handrail.
at least in the last meeting.
I'd like to confirm that, because that would be, to me, that's I don't see how that works when you can have, like, let's say a condition, we can walk out a door and slide down at 45 degrees. Because the door opens right on the edge of the slope.
Okay.
So I was just assuming, I was kind of like, oh, well, that's cool, because if you come out the door, at least you're up against the handrail. And I was interpreting on the north elevation on sheet A400. I was seeing that there's a dark red line, dark double line that was on the slope side, and it wasn't on the other side of the door. I just assumed that was a double line. I saw it in the perspective, and I saw it. I saw it in the elevations, so I just don't know. I'd like to confirm that you're
Okay.
doing that, and I would say that I would like to, if you're doing making a motion, I would like to see that.
Okay.
Before you go, I just had a couple questions or a couple comments from out here. One, Alex,
Yes.
and I don't want to mistake. You've been indicating, you know, smaller tenants, of course, and that's a part of the argument for, you know, that's gone into what's been discussed over the last 10 minutes. But a bit ago, you mentioned, what if you had somebody who took the whole building or half a building or whatever? Or a large segment of space, is that going to affect, and this is a rhetorical question, is this going to affect that asphalt back there and the paving back there? The other thing is part of what we've done on the plan commission is to try to appoint people who bring a level of expertise that supplements everything that we have from a staff perspective and sometimes surpasses that because people have been very specifically working in a particular area of expertise. And with Jim and John on there, they both have come out of some large construction backgrounds, and I'm making a statement for whatever it's worth. So it may not have been a valuable statement. Well, yes, it is a valuable statement. But I don't know that it's going to change anything. I just wanted to point that out. Okay. They bring expertise to the table and I'm inclined to follow their expertise. But if they're comfortable with where we're going, I'm good with that too.
I just got a text from my architect. Yes, guardrails at each slope. So I can formally address it later, I guess, via email if you'd like, but.
Or we could put it in a motion.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think, I think they're shown. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more of a confirmation to me
maybe-
because I can see that if you look on the side as you exit the door, there's a
It's slightly darker.
pretty clear to me,
Yeah.
whatever, but it should be more.
Okay.
Should be more clear.
It's probably some sort of code. So,
I know for a retaining wall, it would be a code, right?
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is, 36 inches, whatever you gotta
Mhm.
put a railing, presumably it's something similar.
All right, let me try a motion and then we can
Go for it.
see where it goes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the site and architectural plan as presented for a 71,100 square foot spec warehouse light industrial building at N118 W66764 Forward Way. With the following conditions. The city engineer shall review the asphalt apron for safety and durability issues. The city engineer shall review the southwest driveway entrance onto Forward Way for safety issues. The lower two bands, is that all I need to put? The lower two bands on the building shall be the darker color as presented. The colors shall be brought back to the Site and Architectural Review Board for review prior to finalizing the exterior colors. And just belt and suspenders, confirmation that there will be handrails by the man doors to the rear of the building. And subject to the planner's other comments.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a second? Or are we good to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Anybody want to discuss any further? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Thank you all
opposed?
very much.
Anyone
Opposed?
second? Anyone opposed?
Anyone opposed? No.
But you'll-
Okay, so
Unanimous.
it's
you know, good,
unanimous.
good luck. We're not trying to rake you over the coals. You know.
No, I
No, no.
appreciate it. I do. Thank you guys, for your
Yeah.
insights and
Alex, we're glad you're here. I mean, truly.
Yes, good luck with it.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Right, yeah.
Okay, we are comments and announcements by plan commissioners.
I have one question. I have whatever, there was we got, I'm gonna call it a complaint, but we got copied with an email about Serzant.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just wondering what the status was of that. I mean, I know there's a lot of neighbors that were really concerned and very specifically about any outdoor alcohol sales, yada, yada, and they were kind of, I took it all with a grain of salt just because I know that there's always multiple sides to a story, but I'm just wondering if there's an update on what happened there.
I'm not aware what the follow-up has been from a staff perspective or anything. Mary, do you know anything?
I don't.
Okay, and
Would you educate some that process when something like this happens?
I can't hear you, John.
I'm sorry, Mayor. The question was, what is the process when something like this comes up? I mean, does Mary run out with a hammer or?
No, I would,
Or you call the sheriff or how does this work?
I did, I did review that email
Mhm.
and I was at a bit of a loss to conclude based on what was sent to me
You know,
that there was
I
any
just-
violation. Go
Could I
ahead.
just, this is public comments and it's in.
Oh, I thought it was
suggestions by
plan commission comments.
Plan commission comments.
Yeah.
but, we're on to what could be considered an agenda
Oh, okay.
item at this point.
I have a
would just-
comment that I was just concerned about, that didn't seem resolved.
let
Am I-
me,
Does
Let
that
me
didn't
just-
seem conclusive based on the photos? And I didn't,
It didn't. And
so.
I did conclude that, my comment would be that I concluded that, that a letter to inquire about what happened on those dates, requesting a fill in the blanks, what went down here. Reminder, here's what your conditional use permit allows,
Mhm.
is what will happen on a case like that.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, do you have any announcements, Madam Mayor?
I just wanted to reiterate what I said a couple of minutes ago. We have a really well-rounded plan commission, and there are some very, very excellent skills that are at that table. And if any of you have strong concerns about something, I don't want us to ignore those. And I don't think we are, but I just want to reiterate that because you bring expertise to the table that, I mean, I guess John and Jim in particular bring some expertise. Sig has different expertise, but, experience in that same area that you guys are in because he's done a lot of projects, but you bring some very specific tools, just like Sig does, and the rest of us all have different areas of, I'm not making any sense here, but just, I want to recognize that we have to pay attention to what the people are bringing to the table here and not allow ourselves to be talked away from that. So thank you for listening to that.
Thank you. If that concludes the mayor's comments, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Go for it, Jim. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
We've got a motion and a second. Thank you all.
Yep.
Good night.
Is the game over? Is the game over?
3-1.
Ouch.
What is it?
3-1. The US is losing.
Oh.
Oof.
How much time is left?
I gotta tell you, I never understand time clock of a soccer game.
45-minute halves.
10 next to the thing, and then also it's 100 minutes.